G'day, my name's Henry. Today we'll be looking at the case of Dolby v Commissioner of Taxation. It's a 2002 case, which was in the Federal Court of Australia. The case involves the sale by the Commonwealth of Telstra shares. You could buy those shares in two instalments. The first instalment you'd have to subscribe to those shares was in November 1997, and then you had to pay the remaining 50% in November 1998, or a year later. The dispute was very simple. It was a dispute about the timing for indexation purposes of when the cost base would start, or what indexation should apply to the transaction. The Commissioner was claiming that it was upon the final instalment because the taxpayer could sell their rights. They could sell their rights of those shares from any time between the November 1997 date and the November 1998 date, and therefore the proper date for indexation would be 1998. The taxpayer was arguing that they incurred the liability as soon as they incurred the debt, and that was in 1997. So quite hilariously, this case is about $2, and they're in the federal court spending a lot of money, and Spencer J. at the time, in his judgment, paragraph 4 says, "I have been informed from the bar table that the amount actually involved in this appeal is the pricely sum of about $2. I offered to pay to either party or to both parties that amount, which offers have not been taken up. Apparently, this is regarded as a test case and involves a significant number of taxpayers." And so, as it would. So we're fighting over $2 here. Now, the court found that the correct date for indexation was 1997 in November. So that was, he found in favour of the taxpayer. And there was a number of reasons for it, but primarily the court found that the ability for the taxpayer to get out of that debt and to sell their interests and not incur it, I suppose, themselves. It said, the court found that defeasibility does not necessarily mean that there is no liability and that an expense is not incurred. And then the fact that the taxpayer could have sold their interest before that date does not mean that the taxpayer hadn't incurred that liability. Also, they talked about the purchase of CGT by installments. The correct date for calculating when the CGT asset is purchased is at the time of the contract was entered into. And the fact that there was actually a prohibition in the trust deed of early repayment didn't override the first two principles. So that's Dolby versus Commissioner of Taxation. Cheers.